Thursday, August what? 24th?
Yes, 24.
Wallace is writing some cards and we're getting ready to go on a tour of Fairbanks. Rainy, 54 degrees.
In Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, where it was then disassembled, taken across the Transcontinental Railroad, where it was assembled about 4.5 miles south of here, and it took 6 months to assemble once it was up here, and in 31 years of operation, it only went 4.5 miles, so it's a very slow process. You can see, most of this dredge is very heavy. It's all cast iron and steel. It's 1,065 tons. So, and that's when the dredge is not in operation, when all the gravel is not aboard. The hole, flooded the hole, and then it came and flowed. So you see the pond is portable. You can tell that right away. They dug out front. If you look at the dredge buckets right here, they dug in front, and all the tailings you can see in back shot off the back of the dredge. The dredge moved in 180 degrees, moved kind of in a half moon up the valley, just waddled up the valley. So they moved, as you can see, if you're looking back, the dredge was once sitting at this angle, and now it's moved to its present location now. There's several reasons why the dredge closed down and stayed down. One is the dredge, when it closed in 1959, the price of gold fell to $35 an ounce. It was very, very low. And it wasn't enough to maintain any profitability for the dredge. So when they closed down, they hoped that they could open back up when the price of gold came back up. 6 years later, when it when it was high enough for the dredge to reopen, two government agencies came into effect. One is OSHA, the Occupational Safety Hazards Administration, and one is the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. The EPA didn't like the fact that this dredge used mercury to find the gold. The mercury would be placed, and gold has sort of a magnet effect with the mercury. It created an amalgam together. Gold stuck to the mercury, and the men worked hands-on with this mercury on a daily basis. Many of the men were dying everywhere, and much of the environment around here was dead. There's a beaver lodge right on the other side of this dredge. Something like that couldn't have survived.
The survival out in the rural areas, really the only way you can get there is in these small planes. And we have more pilots and airplanes like this than just about any place else that I know of. Here he comes. He's slipping her in right behind us here. And he's kind of coming in sideways, so he's not diving down straight ahead. He's just slipping to the side, moving back and forth like a sailor. He's going to land right on the end and have to miss the canoe and the picnic table and the badminton net and a few other obstacles down here. But right at the end now, he's just going to float it in. Watch this. He'll cut the power, float her right in on this cushion of air, and we'll hope the ducks all get out of the way. Bring it right in, and watch these tires flex a little bit. See, they take up the shock real efficiently. So there's Bill Johnson for you with a wave. Thank you, Bill. And he's certainly one of the best here in this neighborhood. Fouts Field is what this area is called.
Playing with them a trust and be trusted relationship. And we do that by taking daily walks with them. We have a trail that we've cut through the woods here. And there's bits of water that they have to cross over, some big logs they have to climb over, a steep cliff. And these are big challenges for them at this age. And we're trying to teach them the same love of adventure that we have. And teach them that we're going to be there with them on all of those adventures. And so if they get to one of the logs and can't get over it, we're there to encourage them or help them over it. And they can eventually develop a trust and understand that we will never ask them to go any farther or faster than they're capable of once they're in harness. Shape for that. We have our riverboat here, and we put up to 15 of them at a time in the boat, and we go down river to the Tanana, and we let them loose on the islands there and run around on the sandbars. And David and I are running around with them for an hour to an hour and a half, and that's at least every other day. And so, although it's a lot of fun, it is getting them in shape for when the snow flies. And then we have our retirees. And every dog that we raise here at the kennel and that races with us is going to be ready to go into harness for their first time. And we'll take 2 of those retired leaders and put them out in front and 6 puppies behind. And it's so instinctive in these little puppies to pull that we always say, that it only takes us 2.5 minutes to teach them to go, but it takes us 2.5 years to teach them to whoa. And we have...
season, so Aladdin is definitely on the lookout for any intruders. He gets a little excited this time of year. But the female and the young daughter, she was born here about the same time Tekla came into the world, about Mother's Day. The little girl is doing real well. Aladdin, the male, will lose his. And you might notice that horn right down on his forehead. That's an interesting tool that nature's given him, because when the snow comes, 6 to 8 inches of snow on the ground, he can move that part of that antler structure back and forth and actually uncover areas so that the family can graze. Caribou generally feed on the ground. Moose tend to stand up on their taller legs and will eat shrubbery and the leaves off the trees. But the caribou will, the main areas where they live don't have a lot of trees to browse on, so they've adapted to ground grazing primarily. Now Aladdin is starting to grow a little bit of his winter hair. You can see that lighter hair just coming out again. Eventually he'll turn a kind of cream. The trappers now use snow machines, and they use dry dog food for their animals, if they still use dog teams. But some families still choose to do it the old-fashioned way, including Dixie. Dixie is from Fort Yukon, right on the Arctic Circle, about 100 miles from here. She is Koyukon Athabaskan and a terrific spokesperson for her culture and her people. So we're going to slide.
Always came to fish camp with us. Our camp was very similar, but a lot larger.
Well, now, what was it like living in tents for that long? Did these wall tents work pretty well?
Oh yeah,
Go right down the backbone on either side and begin to fillet this fella. Then also the head and the backbone and viscera come off, and again they can be used two ways. If there were dogs in camp, they'd cook them up in kind of a mulligan stew and feed them in the summertime. The viscera can also be used as garden fertilizer. So what's the final step when it's all dry?
well, once you have it is thoroughly dehydrated, we'll bale it up into a bale and put it into our cache, which is this log structure over here with the we store all our supplies we need for dinner. All sweet ham, all the beef, moose jerky, caribou jerky, salmon strips, dry fish, and all the things we make with berries.
Now that's a lot of good eating stuff up in that cache. What do you do to keep that door closed? Right after. So it's a great pleasure for me to introduce you to our Yukon Quest champion, David Monson. Tekla's dad. Here he is.
Good afternoon and welcome to Chena Village. I'm certainly happy to be able to introduce you directly to the Alaska state sport, dog mushing. But dog mushing has really been part of the culture and history of Alaska for thousands of years. These guys are our partners in survival here, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about how we travel with these guys and what function each particular dog performs in the team. You can see they're hooked up in pairs today. That's called a tandem hitch. And that means each dog has a partner. Each set of dogs has different responsibilities. And the two lead dogs today are Fulvin and Stone. They're probably the most...
In the Tanana Valley, and we are in the heart of the Athabaskan territory, and that is the culture that my friend and I will be sharing with you today. We will explain how the Athabascans skillfully survived this harsh environment for over 10,000 years, and we will be having 4 short stops along the way. We really appreciate it if you stick with us, as you will not miss out on a single thing at the end ways north from where I grew up.
Guys, to tell you about myself, I'm half Inupiaq Eskimo. My people come from the northwest region of Alaska.
Show a sign of defense.
What? Start all over. My mother was born and raised in Nome, and to continue her education, she came here to Fairbanks to attend the University of Alaska Fairbanks. While she was studying there, she the summertime home of Athabaskan beadwork artist and skin sewer Dixie Alexander, who you first met across the river. Everybody, say hi to Dixie.
Hi, Dixie.
Good job. Dixie was born and raised in Fort Yukon, where she learned her beadworking skills. She's well known throughout the state, as well as the nation, for her talented beadwork artist and skin sewer. lucky enough to have 2 garments that Dixie has made by hand using the traditional methods. But before I show these to you, I want to let Andy explain the tanning process that Dixie still uses.
These large animal pelts behind me, these represent the largest fur-bearing animals that were found here in the interior. Here's the first side. This medium-sized grizzly pelt is a light brown one, and the dark brown one closest to me, that is a moose hide. It was typically the man's job to hunt these animals, and he became very skillful at learning to call them. One of the methods that he would use is from a previous skill, even sprinklers during the rut or the mating season. Now, this would cause curiosity in the other bulls. They would then enter his territory, and the hunter would...
And the inside is also made from wolverine. Wolverine has natural oils in its fur, and that'll help to keep her breath from freezing alongside her face and giving her frostbite. The designs shown on this parka are passed down from generation to generation, and if Andy were to wear this parka to another village, the women might be able to recognize her family name as well as the village she was traveling from.
Oh, the dogs, yeah.
He's got his own little hut.
I wonder why. I wonder if they fight with their loose.
Probably. Eat each other's food.
Maybe. They got this one in a coat. Maybe he's been sick.
Marsh is actually from the Okay. Hi, I guess we're just about all here. I'm Dave Munson from Trailbreaker Kennel. So when I look at each one of these guys, I really am concerned only about what's on the inside, what makes a wonderful sled dog. So I don't care if they're gray or red, black and white, blue eyes or brown eyes. None of that matters to me. What matters is intelligence, curiosity, instinct, as well as their physical attributes of strength, speed, and stamina, and how all those together make a wonderful working dog. And really, that's the way these guys have been looked at since they first became sled dogs about 10,000 years ago. And what happened was the dogs were traveling behind the groups of people that migrated into Alaska. They were going from campsite to campsite. And as people started a semi-nomadic lifestyle here, the dogs were gradually incorporated in a wonderful partnership form that was beneficial to both people and the dogs. The reason is the people using dogs to pull sleds
Smoked salmon. Air dried salmon. says REC.
No, I don't. I can't. I
Right
can't
above-
read.
right above the
I
minutes.
can see something. I can make it out.
Over 350-mile radius of the range, and so still running through today, even though it's been so long with the White River, is ash. And sometimes you'll be able to see it alongside the road if it's a real white color, and so makes it a little bit unique. It's chocolatey color.
Sled runners in the fields and outfitted his dog team with leather moccasins. He then headed east, mushing 2,000 miles to the 1933 Chicago World's Fair. Slim was a big attraction at the fair, as plans for the oil pipeline were beginning. An army of road builders began moving into position to start on the highway. In early April, the 18th Combat in order to keep others serviceable. The two units had joined their sections by means of a winter road, which would be passable until spring breakup. The Alaska Highway was officially dedicated at Soldier Summit, overlooking Kluane Lake, on November 20, 1942. It was 30 degrees below zero for paving the highway. In 1978, the U.S. and Canadian governments agreed to the upgrading and paving of the Canada section of the Haines Road to Haines Junction, and from there to the Alaska-Yukon border. The 1980s brought more and more cars, trucks, and RVs up the highway. Annually, more than 100...
This is a beautiful lake. We stopped along this roadway, lakeside, to eat a box lunch today. There are not many restaurants between Beaver Creek and Whitehorse where we're headed today. Scenery along here is really beautiful. It's time to get back on the motor coach. Not bad today. Your center. Mr. McMillan just coming back to the motor coach.
That's maybe 3 or 4 days old here. So I thought I'd put in a bit of a video here. Now it's up to you to watch it or not. This is well, a bit of a dull narrative, kind of a dull documentary about well, the rigors and the adventures of the Yukon and the men brave enough to survive and maintain order. So you might want to give this a shot. But again, it's a little bit dull here. So I might be testing on some warm milk along with this. But you know, just give this a shot and we'll see what happens here.
Especially the most easiest one of all.
Canyon Creek, is it?
Canyon Creek Bridge. We're still in the Yukon. Ooh, we almost fell in. I got the information picture I took on the sign of that part. That's what we have. I'm going to tell you when. Can you see well enough?
This little community that we're entering is Champaign.
Not quite yet.
Okay, here.
Yeah, those are spirit houses. About 40 to 60. One thing that's nice for the mountain goats and the doll sheep is that they can provide this hill and rocky area for them to climb on.
Mule deer.
Again, another example of how
These are musk ox here at the wildlife reserve.
Here, I'm just going to move up a little bit closer.
Most of them are lying down.
Look at there's, I don't know if you see, but should I move up a little bit more?
They're funny looking things.
As long as you stick the lens right up flush against the window. Right up flush
Who took pictures of them?
I don't know, did you?
Be a little bit.
Cow elk.
A little bit closer.
User tag.
Dave, what are these animals?
The Elks Club.
Right. Females will not have antlers like the male. Whereas the caribou, the females will have antlers.
You're not going to get much of a picture.
No.
In fall, now the writing season is just about nonsense. So they can see a couple of them.
Mean with them, but these two have been very gentle moose, and so they've left them on. Moose, I mean elk.
There's two more here.
Like the Iraqs.
I like that.
Yeah, because I went over the extra foods, the big grocery store. Yeah, that was close too, so. Yeah. Well, actually, it was at 6 o'clock. Yeah, but yeah, not good. Not good at all.